Empty garbhagrahas, missing murtis, and an abandoned temple waiting for restoration.
Bargained a Saptamatrika panel for a mere 2 rupees and a pair of spectacles.
Welcome to Hariharapura. Hariharapura is located off Bengaluru Hassan Highway, 5 km deviation near Shantigrama, a fertile land surrounded by rich coconut farms. One of my viewers had asked me to visit the temple, and it was an unplanned visit on an evening. There was no need to check with someone to locate the temple, as the village is tiny and the temple Shikhara could be seen within a short distance after entering the village. Cattle were tied all along the path to the temple. Women were busy with their evening chores. Children who were playing around the temple surrounded me and accompanied me to explore the temple. This is Trikutachala temple of Hariharapura. There are many Hariharapuras in Karnataka, and that many Harihareshwara temples are also there. This Hariharapura is near Heragu of Hassan district. The village is called Hariharapura after the deity of the village, Harihareshwara. Unfortunately, today Harihareshwara temple is there but no murtis inside the temple. The temple today I'm in front of is something that I'm not happy to see this. This is an 800-year-old Hoysala style temple built in 13th century. Today, this is not an active temple. Even though it is in the center of the town, nobody uses it. Why? Let's see. This is Trikutachala temple, means there are 3 garbhagrahas. They are connected by a common Navaranga. These are very common types of Hoysala style temples. For Chatushkuta temple, that means 4 garbhagrahas connected in Navaranga, you can refer to Doddagadavalli video. The 3 shikharas are similar in style. These are Famsana style of shikhara, having the roof composed of several slabs raised to a single point. The Famsana style is one of the Uttareya Dravida style shikharas. Similar structure can be seen in Doddagadavalli, again a Hoysala temple. I will leave the link in the description for the interested viewers. The bhitti of the temple or outer walls are simple in design without any ornamental design and sculpture like other Hoysala temples. This temple is not on any platform, it is on the ground level and it has small horizontal bands but they are not sculpted. Children not only play in front of the temple, they play on top of the temple as well. Climbing temple Shikhara is fun for them. This is the plan of the temple. There are 3 garbhagrahas you can see. The center one housed Harihareshwara, right one housed Ranganatha, and the left one housed Saraswati. Temple is facing east and we enter from Mukhamandapa and then to Navaranga. Only Harihareshwara has Antarala, rest of the 2 are having direct entry to Garbhagraha. This is the Mukhamandapa of the temple.
ಆಚೆಗೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಕತ್ಲೆ ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು ಬಾವುಲಿ ಇದೆ
ಪಾವ್ಲಿನೂ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಗೂಡಾವೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಮೇಲ
ಇದ್ಯಾರು ಗೊತ್ತಾ?
ಕೃಷ್ಣ
Krishna. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳು. Lintel of the Mukhamandapa bears Krishna. Since it was evening, inside of the temple was totally dark. Here stood Harihara once. Today, this Garbhagruha is empty. Garbhagrahas are empty. Do you know where are they?
They are away 6,500 kilometers away from Hariharapura in Denmark, sitting in a cozy room, AC room, not being worshipped. How did they travel all the way from Hariharapura to Denmark? That itself is an interesting story, and I think it is not a story only about Hariharapura. Similar story exists for many murtis across India, because they were smuggled, they were stolen, they were haggled for very peanut price. So somehow people took all our treasure away from India, and today, as per statistics, more than 50,000 murtis. I don't want to use the word idol, which is not the right word to use, so I am using murti itself in place of idol, generally called as idol. More than 50,000 murtis were shipped from India or smuggled from India to different parts of the world, and today you will see our Indian sculpture in many museums, whether it is America, whether it is Europe, or even in Australia. You will find all our many of our sculpture in all these other countries, but we don't find others sculpture in India. That's how India is. Let's come back to this topic of Hariharapura. How did they travel all the way? It happened in 1894. There was a Danish missionary called Leventhal. He was working in Vellore in Tamil Nadu. He was very familiar with South India. Once he comes to Halebeedu and he'll see Hoysaleshwara temple, he was baffled to see that kind of grand sculptural beauty there. Then he walks less than a kilometer away from Hoysaleshwara temple. To his surprise, there was a huge temple which was almost in ruins, that is Kedareshwara temple. Oh, he felt like thousands of candies in front of him. He wanted a couple of candies. Oh, he wanted to ship all of them to Denmark. To his disappointment, people around him, the locals, tell him that he cannot take them because they all belong to government of Mysore. Mysore is planning to take all of them to Mysore and create a monument over there. Oh, he'll go to DC of Hassan. He'll try to convince him to give him some sculpture, but DC, he'll not oblige. Then he'll convince him to give him a sculpture which was lying in his garden. He'll ship it to Denmark. Then he will go around Halebeedu to Koruvangala, there is Hirekadluru, Hariharapura. Then he'll get an idea, wow, what a treasure which is lying here. When he goes to Hariharapura, he'll see 3 Garbhagruhas, all intact with the original murtis there, but it was deserted. Nobody were worshipping for whatever reasons. He'll see opportunity in all these places. Then he'll get an idea. He'll ask museum to write a letter to Mysore ministers, thanking them for sending the sculpture from DC's garden. He'll take this letter with him. He personally goes and meets ministers of Mysore and requests them, I want to take some more sculpture to Denmark. In that way, we will be spreading Indian culture in Europe. So why don't you accept my request? They'll accept. Then he'll be very happy. He comes back to Halebeedu. He'll collect 41 sculpture from different parts, different villages, from different temples. And also he'll arrange for 35 carts to carry them. He had extra 6 oxen to support, 100 coolies to remove them from its original place and move it to the cart. With all these arrangements, these 41 sculpture will move from Halebeedu to Arsikere to Denmark. He also narrates one more story about Hirekadluru, which is a place very close to Hariharapura. There also there was a reclining Ranganatha whom he shipped. He says when they were moving it from its original place, women were crying, wailing, saying Govinda, Govinda, as if they are bidding farewell in a funeral. And he also narrates, in India, though people are connected emotionally with this sculpture, not as an art piece, but more of an emotional connect. but I could get them by paying little extra money. He narrates an incident when he traded a Saptamatrika panel just for mere 2 rupees and a pair of spectacles. Lately in India, we have lost thousands of such beautiful sculpture and murtis with this kind of smugglers. His Lowenthal's way was very soft approach, getting approval and then shipping. But why in the first place they have to take our cultural treasures to other countries?
Let us take a look at what is left for us to see inside the temple today. Our Sthapatis were very smart. Look at this Harihara carved at the lintel level in the doorway. Hari is Vishnu, Hara is Shiva. Harihara is the union of Vishnu and Shiva. Both Vaishnavites and Shaivites worship Harihara. At door level, we have two Dwarapalas, right side one representing Vishnu and left side one representing Shiva. Pedestal in Garbhagruha has the carving of Nandi and Garuda. Nandi is the vehicle of Shiva and Garuda the vehicle of Vishnu. In all aspects, we can see here the attributes of Vishnu and Shiva equally carved on both sides. This miniature Harihareshwara carved on the lintel is exactly similar to the one stolen which is now in Denmark. Right side of the image is Shiva and the left side is Vishnu. We can see on both sides their consorts Lakshmi and Parvati. This is the image found in Museum of Copenhagen. Now let us see the chamber of Anantashayana Ranganatha. Here also there is a pedestal. It has the carving of Garuda because Vishnu's vehicle is Garuda, and here Vishnu is sleeping on the coils of the great serpent Adishesha. This is the miniature image carved at the lintel level. He is sleeping on Adishesha. You can see there. There is right side Lakshmi is sitting there. Towards his head side is Bhudevi. This is the original image which is in National Museum of Copenhagen. This chamber is dedicated for Saraswati. Like other two Garbhagruhas, here also miniature image of Saraswati which was carved inside is carved on the lintel. The original image is exactly similar to that. And there is a pedestal. In the pedestal we can see swan which is the vehicle of Saraswati. This is the original image which is in the museum. Walls have jalandhras, what you see, they're small windows. When you go to Hoysala temple, visit is not complete until you see the carvings in the ceiling. Even though this temple is very small, its ceiling is heavily decorated. In the center, in the Navaranga, we can see Ashtadikpalakas. All around, it's carved with different images. Lotus is carved in rest of the ceilings. I know light is not sufficient. I couldn't take good videos. I was not carrying torch because it was not a planned visit, but then I had to manage with my mobile torch. Now locals are trying hard to make this as a temple. Today it is abandoned, but they are planning to make it as an active temple. So they are planning to install another image here of Harihareshwara and then encourage people to visit the temple. Efforts are also being made to get back these images from the museum. I'm going to leave the contact number of the people who are leading this activity. If you want to support this temple restoration, you can contact them directly. Why can't we bring our images? Why can't we bring our murtis which are sitting somewhere in other part of the world? Why can't we reinstall and start worshipping?
Now there is another problem. People think that if the murti is broken, if the image is broken, we should not worship. I don't subscribe to this. I remember an instance which Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says. If your child's hand is broken or leg is broken, do you throw them? No, right? You will get them cured, you will take them to hospital, get it repaired, then they will continue to be there as your children. Similar way, if some murti or image is broken, we have to fix it and start reusing it. If we go on rejecting this kind of murtis, then where will we end up? All our murtis will go to museum, from museum to their backyard, from there to their dumping yard. Though we will not be able to retain or preserve all our temples. If murti is not there, then it will become deserted. Then somebody else will come, they will take entire temple itself.
ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಿದ್ದ ಮೂರ್ತಿಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಕತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಮಕ್ಕಳಲ್ವಾ, ನೀವು ದೊಡ್ಡವರಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು.
What do you think? How can we bring back our sculpture back to India? How can we bring back our murtis back to their abode?
If you are interested, you can read this book Hoysala Sculptures in the National Museum Copenhagen by S. Shetter.